inevitably expire. If your death is inevitable, you might as well enjoy life while you can. Let's give it our all and win this battle. However, while time is limited, opportunities are never. The time has come. Weeping is for opera singers, not you. Keep fighting for what you believe in and the things you want to achieve. You shouldn't give up on your principles. Don't try to be a hero anymore, Mara. Assuming that everyone has aspirations of greatness, that it was something that happened when he was young, and that we shouldn't think of it as something we miss because it no longer exists. Ideas for present-day personal growth. Don't give up on your goals and aspirations. I know I will eventually give up on my hopes and ambitions. If this occurs, the other party or the young person making the remark will be mocked. It's a dirty business. So listen to your heart. If envy and jealousy are in it, a drive to improve, or a determination to triumph over one's weaknesses, this mental desertion is widespread, justifying self-deprecation in order to improve one's life, even if one's lack of thought. Keep fighting for what you believe in and the things you want to achieve. Continue forward, bypassing your origins. More essential than everything you'll do together is where you go. There, the recognition is bestowed. To what sort of a future do you aspire? Out of this world. In what ways do you hope to climb? Which door to unlock, and what to build, are both bound up in the past, with the inhabitants below. Don't gush over yourself in the mirror, without even trying. I spewed my fantasies out of my tongue, as though I were having a great time. Focus on the here and now, and don't take a break. Never stop moving, just do it. Lift yourself up. This is the place where you can find what you need, a position of where you are at. Do some serious digging. Sam has landed at your feet, somewhere far away. Not here is where I know. When you're abroad and have no idea what will work for you, way too many young people are on the lookout for it. In reality, I have always ignored my own needs. Right here, at the bottom of an eternally deep spring, the investigation has been buried. You'll dream peacefully about all the gifts you've been given. Take care of yourself. No matter the task at hand, you must tackle it head on and with all your might. Do. The outcomes are satisfactory. This is not self-neglect for its own purpose, but rather an avoidance of facing, to engage in cheap tricks without committing one's full mental and physical resources to them, being off to the side and not participating, finally looking like a complete idiot. In other words, nothing has changed. There is no way to put a price on the significance of your actions. This is the same as suffocating to death. Do your best to handle things on your own. Clap your hands together and crave something you don't have. Avoid showing obvious signs of desire. Have no expectations of actually getting it. Focus on giving as well as getting. Don't feel that you're owed stuff just because you asked for it. Take something from other people without contributing anything yourself. It's pointless to expect anything from someone you don't put in any effort to obtain. Use all your strength to grab it. Add a stepping motion to the poison. As long as we are alive, we have access to every window in the globe. Can't help but bump into each other. Conflict and conflict, jealousy and envy, hearsay and rumors, persistent negative experiences like harassment, temptation, distrust, being treated coldly, etc. Bend your knees before him. Some people utilize the experience of losing oneself as a springboard for development. To the latter, all of these problems and difficulties are. The toxicity of irrationality has been removed. Shop for oneself. Shape yourself into a wonderful individual. It is a gracious gesture of appreciation. Do not try to hide from the world. This is a sincere desire on my part. I despise both the world and myself. In other words, what does not exist, because there is a good reason why it should not. False hope and avoidance of the truth. The act of thinking you have risen above the material world does not, in the end, make it so. Everything we use comes from this planet. Be mindful of Stretched out into this environment, ideas can germinate and grow, whether they are religious or artistic. That's right, you're just like everyone else. Focus on who is doing what, in the eyes of the global community's moral compass and common sense. They constantly lecture kids on the importance of repressing their wants. If everything turns out to be alright, we wonder, among other things. Doubts about persevering tend to fade over time. But there is a truth that must not be overlooked. Nobody who pretends I am someone I'm not, refusing to listen to the voice of morality and reason, liberated pursuit of your true desires. Make sure to keep a close watch. Things that aren't required or helpful, the clutter will inevitably be eliminated. There's no need to stare someone down, none other than a deliberate and fervent act. Those who are at their wits' end and need a helping hand. It's simple to acknowledge suggestions, and suggestions are often highlighted. Believe in, stick to, and provide suggestions. Those who view positions of authority as desirable are typically the people who have lost the ability to think for themselves and take the initiative to invent new ideas or pioneer new approaches. Quantin used up every last bit of his existence in this manner. To those who are always pushing themselves to new heights, if you keep evolving and rising, you'll eventually be able to see what others can't. The day will come when I am at the top, and there's a lofty peak, and an equally lofty summit. A breathtaking vista awaits you, assuming you're already there. What do you hope to see? Something, putting face up, outside of the clouds, the silhouette of the peak. To experience joy at the sight of a grin, or its presence. In an effort to reach the top, one must look down with disdain on the ones below. Those who are having difficulty can be asked a question. While ascending, your body's natural orientation is upward. Only a few undulations have been observed so far. If you have already ascended, you should disregard the count. I just tried to take it one step at a time. And this turns out to be silk. It's not only the mountaineers. Each person's choices contribute to shaping their ultimate fate. Destiny is an intangible, irrational thing that doesn't even exist. Is it true or false that you did it? So, did you stick it out until the end? In the middle of it all, give up and give in. Whether you kept it or not is an open question. Ditched me. Behaviors such as discarding and retrieving support the argument listed below are cultures that have strong ties to one another. Where do you go from here? The next second, when everything is, the only person responsible is the person who brings about their own fate. I'm not a great person, but that's not something to belittle myself for. One's actions and beliefs can be affected by such ideas. For the simple reason that Olga can't get enough. It's more important to value oneself first. Begin with me, the one who hasn't accomplished anything yet. Even if you haven't accomplished much in life, treating yourself with dignity as a human being will prevent you from ever engaging in evil. Human actions that are meant to be criticized are not. That being said, make some changes, and the closer you get to becoming a human, the more you can serve as an example to those around you. And when its doors of possibility widen, it grows into the power essential to realizing a dream and making one's life whole. Be kind to yourself initially. You can't see where you're going if you can't find a way out. Success of a well-known executive or billionaire might provide inspiration. Even if you've read a book with many different approaches, it's a good fit for you even if you have to study for it. No promises can be made that you will succeed, and this is perfectly normal. An individual's makeup can change due to anything as simple as medication. Some people just don't have the body type for it, and you may find that other people's ways of living don't mesh with your own. This is not an unusual occurrence. The issue lies only within your own head. To be honest, I have no clue what your motivations are for wanting to do this. The question is why you would choose to take that path. Since it was unclear, I do not feel bad for asking such a question. After figuring out the solution to this central problem, everything else including making concrete suggestions about how to proceed, will become much more straightforward, taking cues from existing works. There's no point in lingering. You can see your next steps clearly now. That being said, all that's left to do is go for a stroll down the street, where you'll constantly be exposed to new opportunities for personal renewal. Things that I once accepted as undeniable fact are now widely held to be in error. The company was originally founded by him. What you once believed to be a creed may no longer be such, but whether or not it is, I cannot say. So different from when I was young, they claim ignorance of the world due shallowness. Don't bury it because you have to. I told you I was sorry back then because I had to get some emotions out. At the time, that was the truth. A credo that said, people constantly shed their old selves in order to shed their old lives and make way for new ones. And so it is only natural that the things that were necessary in the past would eventually become obsolete. Consequently, be hard on yourself. Accepting and acting upon constructive criticism from others is akin to shedding one's skin and emerging a new person. One must train oneself to love. It's true that when it comes to unfamiliar music, we might quickly become accustomed to it. With reiteration, it becomes a shared experience, leading to closer bonds. The music's allure gradually becomes apparent over time. This means that music has find its hidden allure and make it fall in love with you. You can't imagine your life without music. It has become an integral part of who you are. Even if you love it, even if you love someone else, same love is forever. Like this manner of learning exhibit traveling from unfamiliarity to familiarity. Startup advice. In the course of academic pursuits, extracurricular activities, leisure time, etc., the author discovered a novel concept. Anatomy of a love fight case studies covers the most ground. What I dislike is misunderstandings and petty disagreements. You won't remember the role even if you see it. Having made up my mind that it's game over, I sit here and observe in silence as it all plays out. Finally, therefore, what is the verdict on? It's easy to see what really matters when you get to the bottom of things: emotions, likes, and dislikes, as well as mood bias, all the way through to the conclusion, without giving up and developing a wide passion for the process. One question you're likely to have is this: what time of year does the magic happen? Highest level of conceit. Is there anything more conceited than needs to be loved? It's there that you'll find the love you so richly deserve. It is argued that this kind of person puts oneself higher on the priority list than other people. There is something unique about you. I am biased if I don't single you out for special treatment. Instinct savvy helps save lives. To compare, if we don't eat, the body weakens and finally dies. And if we don't get enough sleep, the body is no different from a person who develops diabetes in 4 days. Intelligence is our most valuable asset, and if you don't get enough sleep, you'll start hallucinating and eventually die. Aid in maintaining life. Yet humans have the potential to become dependent. The same may be said of intelligence. It's a useful resource. Then we act rashly because of our natural tendencies. We may be tempted to dismiss instinctive responses as barbaric, but doing so is rarely a wise decision. The intelligence of enormous relief is in the hands of everyone. This is because instinct is the most basic form of intellect. Can claim the title of most intelligent. It would be, wouldn't it? An objective perspective is required for comprehension. Portrait of Monet's mausoleum in detail. Sorry, I can't even begin to guess at the meaning of that. After taking a back seat and taking stock, this, at last, is the object's sketched outline, competent to understand. Everyone caught in a whirlpool. That's how it is up close. Everyone can see what's going on, but from a distance, all you can do is stare. Exactly what the issue is has been made abundantly clear. When you think of a vortex, what axes come to mind? Simply put, it's a standout for a reason. This approach makes the enigmatic concept of a thinker more accessible. Put this strategy into practice first. As a result of the messiness, like a ball of thread, withdraw the growing framework, modified to be clear and simple enough for everyone to grasp. This allows for, provide yourself with abilities. It would be unwise to assume nothing can be accomplished due to a lack of innate ability. None. If you don't believe you have any talent, all you have to do is study the above. To paraphrase Nietzsche, who wants to go backwards from today, everyone is better than they are right now, and I try to live each day in anticipation of a better future. But disappointment and disillusionment are always so difficult to bear. Nietzsche advised facing this suffering head-on. Listen to the wisest and most successful advise, intolerant of harsh weather and storms. You examine the tree's bark closely to see whether any human traces can be found. Should I expect to mature into a prison? Is it possible to ask only once? Difficulty, hostile environments, and hatred are malevolent cruelty. Greed and violence are not. Verify rigorously that you fit the prerequisites. Until you go through these situations, you can't possibly understand. We rarely see the cultivation of great virtue. Experiencing pain is not something to be avoided. It is vital for us to experience pain or adversity in order to learn. Life is tough, but as Nietzsche said, the pain given to us must be accepted voluntarily and used as a stepping stone. Let's take that next solitary step toward the destination, toward which you are always progressing.